Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the evolution of California's justice system through SB 678, creating safer communities through rehabilitation and evidence-based practices. Please now welcome to the stage CPOC's President, Chief Brian Richart of El Dorado County.
Try it with a microphone on. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Sacramento to celebrate a decade of success of criminal justice reform in California. During our journey today, we're going to walk together through some of the history, advancements, outcomes, and potential in our industry. You're going to hear from experts within and around the practice of corrections and how, from their perspective, we have moved the needle toward continual improvement in our work. You will hear stories of success, stories of triumph, and stories of hard work. You're going to hear from policymakers without whom these changes would not have been possible. You'll hear from practitioners who will walk us through their efforts to promote change in the lives of their clients. And you will hear from those who've journeyed through the change process, supported by probation, and come out better versions of themselves. The passage and implementation of Senate Bill 678 marked a significant turning point in the history of California probation. Recognizing the symbiotic relationship between state and county corrections, a few bold leaders stepped forward with a plan to improve the performance of both. 10 years ago, toward the tail end of the second Schwarzenegger administration, a group of visionaries overcame political obstacles from both the left and the right to make 678 a reality. They recognized that business as usual had brought us to the brink of failure. The historic over-reliance on state prisons and incarceration as a means to providing public safety was proving unwise, ineffective, and unsustainable. A new solution had to be found, and the hope for change was found in probation. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about systems. Systems depend on the performance of each of their components, infrastructure, if you will. Poorly developed or poorly maintained infrastructure will negatively impact the performance of the system and increase the chance the system will fail its users. Criminal justice system has several users who depend on its effectiveness. You have the community that anticipates that we are going to prevent crime. You have victims, when a crime is committed, anticipate that we are going to intercede and make them whole to the extent possible. And you have the offenders, who actually have an expectation that if caught up in the criminal justice system by their own behavior and choices, that they will be treated in a just and fair way by the system. The system that we have in criminal justice is made up of a variety of pieces of infrastructure, each affecting the other. You have police and sheriffs who enforce the law, the courts processing people through, jails and prisons as an intervention, and community corrections through probation and parole. Of all criminal justice system infrastructure, by sheer volume and impact, the linchpin to our criminal justice system success is delivered through local probation departments. Local probation is responsible for connecting with fully 2/3 of the criminal justice population, providing support, services, and accountability to those brought before the bar and who would otherwise be held accountable in jails and prisons or not at all. Without the community corrections component of our system, criminal justice would simply collapse under its own demand. Ironically, over my 23 years in corrections, probation services in America, including here in California, while being the most cost-effective option, has traditionally been the most woefully underfunded. Now, after a decade of watching our industry argue for additional funds to improve services for our adult clients, in 2009, through SB 678, I began to see the shift that our industry had desperately been seeking. Now, Perhaps the driver of change was indeed the fact that the state needed to reduce its prison population. But the results of that change drove a new era in investment and development of probation services in California. When Senator Mark Leno proposed the establishment of incentivized funding to grow the investment in local probation services through the savings generated by not sending people to state prison, many interests stood in the way of this progress. Accusations were made that it would lead to decreased public safety, to decreased accountability, and to increased crime. But the conditions in our prisons proved that we could not adequately rehabilitate many of the offenders who had a huge potential for change. And maintaining the status quo would lead only to more crime, more victims, and more wasted expense. But a champion for change sailed in from the horizon. From the many lessons learned in juvenile justice, probation demonstrated how, when properly resourced, we could have a greater stake in keeping the community safe by building bridges for offenders to make their way back into those communities. The result, as we can see today, is that many people for whom prison would have been the result of their offense have been safely and successfully maintained in the community where probation has humanely and compassionately worked to provide them with support, accountability, and an opportunity for change. But not only did 678 promote improved practices in probation, it also promoted a change of culture in criminal justice, where stakeholders began to see that local partnerships produced greater results than the sum of the investments. New partnerships led to new opportunities between courts, corrections, jails, health and human services, education, and community-based organizations. Those enduring partnerships have created a more open and mindful approach to local justice and have carried us through many challenges. SB 678, for all the calls against it, has proven its success in reduced imprisonment, reduced crime, and reduced costs to the taxpayers. But most of all, it has shown its success through improved lives for our clients, for their families, and for our communities. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is something to celebrate. But why is probation able to maintain safety in the community, affect change with their clients, and save money for the community while providing a more humane approach to corrections? The answer is simple. It's really all about relationships. Probation officers today are truly a highly trained, synthetic professional. A professional who combines the skill building of a coach, the guidance of a mentor, the compassion and empathy of a counselor, and the steadfast consistency and accountability of a trusted leader, all while serving in the capacity of a keeper of the peace. We believe in the efficacy of our profession and the nobility of the work to assist others who are committed to improving their own lives. Probations are the guardians where there are no gates, and through their relationships with clients, they are able to overcome resistance to change and spark aspiration for more. We're here today to commemorate the first brick laid in the foundation of a criminal justice reform effort that has successfully been under construction in California for the better part of a decade. And we do this at a time in history where there appears a great opportunity for more to be written and more to be done. Our industry has passed the test. We have proven our worth, and we have demonstrated our ability to take on the challenge of solving big problems through bold solutions. We stand ready to partner with those that see the need and the opportunity to follow the science, follow the data, and create the next big, bold solution to promote safer communities through changed lives. I'm very pleased to see you all here today. My hope for your investment of your time today is that you discover opportunities for learning and inspiration, and that you come away with a richer sense for the value of the work performed and the positive impacts it has on our families, friends, and neighbors.